The challenge for the church is not whether God has spoken or not. God has spoken, that we know. The challenge is, what did he say? And two, what did he mean by what he said? That is what preachers do. We don't come to say God is now speaking. We say he has spoken. This is what he meant. That's what preaching is, trying to find out what God meant. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a preacher, and we were just having a conversation, and I said, when we preach, we don't preach the word of God. I said, when I preach, my preaching is not the word of God. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, we preach the oracles. I said, no, what we preach is not the word of God. What we preach is the interpretation of the word of God. So whilst I'm speaking to you, it's not God speaking to you. I'm telling you that God has spoken, and I'm trying to get you to understand what he said. But what I am saying is not God speaking. No preacher preaches the word of God. No preacher. We preach and interpret the word of God. The word of God is separate from my preaching. Are you getting me? The word of God is not my preaching. The word of God is the Bible. My preaching is how I interpret the Bible. That is why you can judge what I preach by going back to the word of God. Because if what I'm preaching is the word of God, you can't judge it. You can't judge it. But if what I'm preaching is the interpretation of the word of God, then you can go back and open the Bible and find out if the things I am interpreting is so as it is written. Because we judge every preaching by the word of God. Are you following me? All right. We preach by interpreting the word of God. And why do we need to interpret the word of God? Because there is a distance between when God spoke and when we live. There is the time distance, cultural distance, language distance, and sometimes what you think God is saying in the Bible may not be what he meant. And we need people who truly know how to use the right tools to rightly divide the word of God. And when they divide the word of God, they are not bringing you a new revelation. They are only bringing you that which is there. The word of God spoken in time past, which is now being interpreted to us now in the days we live in. I hope you understand that. Okay. And that's why every man of God is challengeable, including me. Don't hear me preach and say, God said. No, that's Mr. Otabile said. Then you go to find out, did God say what Otabile said? Did it line up with the Bible? And if it doesn't line up, discard it.